Morning tubers, it's about 25 after 10 on Saturday, March 7th, and we're about that in the garage. And we're going to start getting really windy outside, so I just decided to leave the garage door closed. This is some old 16 gauge steel I had, and I don't think I'm going to be able to use any of it, because I want to make a bracket to mount both crossovers on. Hang on. And this will be enough to mount it, but it won't give me any mounting tabs to sit there and screw it. So what about this one? Oh, wait a minute, this one might be... Give me some meat there to mount. Put a couple of mounting holes there. I have to sit there and see. We get these mounted, we can finish up the mess of the wiring that's in the car. As you can see it all there. But what I was thinking of doing is, let me get a flashlight. And I know the Vintage Air Kit takes up some room, but it doesn't take up that much room. So what I'm kicking around with, I'll hold it, let me move the broom. I use the broom as a, so if the door bangs, it bangs into the broom. So, as you see down there, where the heater box used to be, where the heater box used to be, is I got some screws sticking out that are pretty far, and I could sit there and mount it there. And I'm thinking about right here. So, and just build the box and just hang it there and have the wiring come up, wiring coming down like there. And yeah, but I don't know how much of this area Vintage Air is going to take, but we can always relocate it once we get it done. But for the time being, and Vintage Air is going to be way down the road. I mean, you really don't need, if the car is good and insulated, you really don't need heat during the winter time, except to fog up the windows, and you really don't need. And this car is going to be mostly driven in the summer, in the spring and summer. What you need in the summer around here is AC. So, but that's where I'm at. I'm trying to sort this out, and I'm just in the process of designing this up right now, and seeing what I got. So as I start putting stuff together, I'll turn the camera back on, but I got to take a couple measurements down there and see. I wonder if I can put them on the top holes and put the panel up. So as I get going on the design stage, I'll turn this back on later. All right, it looks like this piece of steel, scrap steel, is going to work. So that's the mounting hole, and a mounting hole that tied into the bolts that are coming through the hole to cover for the heater core. And so those will be 5/16. This line here will be where one crossover goes, and it's going to hang down past the bottom. We'll cut here, square it up, cut here to square it up, and then once I get a squared edge here, then I'll square up the bottom here. And then hopefully, yeah, these will fit right in here like this. And it'll be down a little bit like this. So we could sit there and we can make out that it's input, mid-range, and tweeter. And then we can still reach up and hit the selector switch. So it looks like this piece of sheet metal is going to work. So when I get more, I'll turn it back on later. Can we say round two? Yeah, that scrap I had, I drilled the holes, mounting holes for it, and I measured twice, and I thought I had it right, but I was off by about 1/8 of an inch. So I just got back from Home Depot, got another piece of 16 gauge, and as they say, we'll try again. So when I get more, I'll turn it back on. At least if I blow one, I got enough to sit there and make two out of this piece, because they're only about 8 inches long, and this is 18 inches. So anyway, let's see what we do this time. Later. Alright, the panel is cut to length. And like I said, I still got enough to, if I blow this one, to make one more. So, but in the meantime, look what came. So, I am not going to be able to do this one-handed. No, there's no way. Hang on, I'll be back. Alright, I guess I set the camera down when it was recording, but this is what I was after. But we'll go ahead and use this kit for the tweeters and everything. I don't know if the cable's going to be long enough for it, which I doubt, but they give us, so we will splice. But I wonder, these might now look good because they're small enough right there. Now that might look good. Alright, well, we're busy doing something here. Next would be to mock up this and see. So I'm going to stick that in there, stick one of these in there, one of the pods. And they're built pretty stout too, so we'll put this all back together and put it back in the box and then take it inside and go from there. So when I get more, next will be up to drill holes. We're going to finish one project at a time before we start playing with those. So when I get more, I'll turn it back on later. Well, I rounded the corners off, and so now we'll place the placement for each of the crossovers on here and then drill the holes and mount them up. And then before I mount this, I think I'll paint it black and just sit there into so I don't have bare metal sitting in the car. And so the other thing I'm thinking of doing, since the crossovers are going to sit like this, I think I'll go up to my label maker and label each one of these so you could sit there and see it from here. And then you know, I know actually this is input and then this is mid-range and this is the tweeter. But let's just make sure we on that. So, next up is to mount the crossovers. And then when I get those mounted, then we'll sand this all down, we'll prime, and we'll paint it. More in a minute, later. Alright, the holes are drilled for the crossovers. And I made them a little big so I can kick them around. So now we'll clean this up, and we're going to prime and paint it. And then we'll put it all together and stick it in the car. When I get more, I'll turn this back on later. Alright, we're in the back patio. You can see how windy it is. Kenny was in line earlier in his early show at the car show that it was going to get windy today, and it sure is. But on the back patio, what are we, 72, 73? Got the first coat of primer on it. I'm going to do a couple coats of primer and a couple coats of black both sides, and then we'll put it together and put it in the car. So when I get more, I'll turn it back on later. Hey tubers, well, while the crossover panel's drying on the back patio, I'm still shooting it. We came back in the garage and back to my obsession of getting the tweeter on the A-pillar, and that does not look bad. That is just big enough to where it doesn't look bad. I don't know. What does everybody think? I don't think that looks bad. I think that's... And I can move it forward. Hold on for a minute. Let me pause. Hang on. There's it forward on the A-pillar. In other words, more this way back because it's mounted on this flat surface. I don't know. I think it's looking pretty good. What does everybody else out there think? So, yeah. So, that's where I'm at. And as we get more, it's getting late and I'm going to probably have to take a shower and stop and get dinner started. But, yeah, I'm liking that a lot better and all the progress that I've done on the scratch build ones. So, when I get more, I'll turn this back on later. Alright, the panel's back in the garage. I'm done painting on it, and we'll let it sit here overnight before we mount the crossovers on it and go ahead and put it in the car. That'll probably be tomorrow or Monday. Remember, tomorrow's my chore day around the house, and so we'll load this one up this afternoon once I get done here. I did called T-Dub and FaceTimed him, and we both like this. We moved it back, and we both like it in that position right there. So I think that's what's gonna happen, or that's where it's gonna go. I think it looks pretty good sitting there. It's not a big thing. It's small, and I think it looks pretty good. And what's your guys' out there opinion on it? So, yeah, you get it around from all angles. You will see daylight coming through here. But, yeah, I like it. So, that concludes today's video. I want to thank everybody for watching, subscribing, and, of course, leaving comments. And we could pick this up tomorrow, or if not, definitely on Monday. Everybody have a good weekend. Later.